Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. This is Rob and Jordan, and we are here for Archangel Inc. Live number 52. How are you, Jordan?
I am doing great tonight, Rob. Excited to dive into this one, to answer some questions, and just get going.
Excellent. Cool. Well, I just wanted to give a brief commemoration. The folks who are on our email list know that this is our 52nd. So we've been at this for a full year. So it's good to be back, good to be here, and glad to talk about another topic here for authors out there. And tonight we're going to be talking about the best online course platforms in 2020. So we talked about this just a couple of episodes ago, why you might be interested in the course, in building your own course. In general, we're big fans of diversifying your authorship platform. So having lots of different products and services that are congruent with your business and what you're about in order to capture the greatest amount of interest and create additional revenue streams and other ways for people to connect from you and learn from you and share in whatever it is that you're passionate about. And so we had a question actually on that last live stream. I think that was number 49. And it was, hey, can you tell me a little bit about the different options? I'm kind of weighing some different things. And we thought, okay, that'd be a good idea. And so Jordan, I know you've done a deep dive recently and you were interested in doing this. I know you're putting together a course of your own and kind of weighing some different things. So let's kind of start from there. Anything you want to share at the outset?
Yeah, I think from the outset, I've been doing the deep dive and doing more of this research for myself. And yeah, it's a great question. You have this course or you're thinking of your idea. Hey, where am I going to put this? What marketing am I going to do for this? What hosting am I going to think about doing? And you start typing in where to host my course, course hosting options. You're going to get hit with a ton of ads. There's a ton of different different websites, different people trying to share their advice with you. We're as impartial as we can be. We just have experience with some of them, and we'll share more about that. But yeah, it's been good for me to kind of dive in and think about, hey, where can I put my course? And I think something we're going to get into even more tonight is the idea that it doesn't have to be a mutually exclusive thing. If you have your course, if you host it yourself on Teachable, it doesn't mean you can't put that course up on Udemy or another platform like that, as long as those platforms aren't exclusive. Or we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But think about it, it doesn't have to be an either or kind of thing. It can potentially be a both and. And that was actually exciting for me when I was looking at it, because sometimes it can be like, oh man, I have to make this decision. And then once I make this decision, I'm stuck.
Right.
For the most part, that's not the case. Even if you go through a Udemy or a platform like Thinkific or Teachable, you're not necessarily going to be stuck to those platforms unless you sign up for a year or do something like that. But for the most part, even if you don't like it, you can change and move away from those. But I think thinking about course hosting and that selection and that process, thinking about it from the outset as it doesn't have to be an either or kind of thing. And then you can weigh the different advantages to each one.
Right. Love it. Yeah, that was a really interesting bit of information to find out as well on my end, that, just like we're simultaneously streaming right now to Facebook and YouTube, you don't have to choose just a single platform. Even if you do want to focus on a particular medium, in this case, course building for authors, then you don't have to, necessarily have a single outlet for it. So great stuff.
Yeah, I think, and playing devil's advocate for 1 second, I think the only thing people might say against that is, okay, Jordan, I understand what you're saying, but maybe that's a splitting focus kind of thing. Maybe you should just spend your focus on Teachable. I totally understand that, but I think it's like the same thing we talk about Amazon and putting your stuff on Amazon. Just because you have a book out on Amazon doesn't mean that if you choose to go wide, that it's not worth it to publish it on iBooks or Google Play or anything like that. It just means, most of your stuff's probably going to come from your main focus, but it doesn't mean you can't have it in other places as well. People might find me on Udemy. We'll talk a little bit more about what you can do and how you can go about that. But it's something I'm going to pursue for my course, and I'm excited about that.
Great. Yeah, no, great devil's advocate perspective and kind of sharing why it might make sense. And we'll talk a little bit about in what circumstances that can apply. So let's jump right in. So the first thing we have, first note, the difference between basic e-course hosting versus a marketplace. And we've talked about that just a little bit. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here, e-course hosting is if you have your own website or own platform, whereas a marketplace is somewhere that, like Amazon, somebody's going to go to find something as opposed to going to your own website. The advantage, I suppose, would be you probably get to keep more of your proceeds on something that you're self-hosting versus a marketplace, but you also are responsible for driving that traffic over, because you can have it posted up there and nobody passively is going to find you unless they're already on your website versus somebody already browsing on Udemy or elsewhere for a particular set of courses. So thoughts on that? Is that accurate, my assessment?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're thinking about e-course hosting, it could be the platforms like Teachable and Thinkific, or if you get plugins or find a way to do it on your own website. Now, we don't advise that. Most people don't advise that because, especially if you're doing video courses, that's large files. If you're just hosting your website, most hosting platforms have limits, and they don't want you to upload full videos and host a course on there. Those platforms exist so that you can just upload your course and have it nicely displayed in one area, in something that people are familiar with and used to, that kind of works and is very user friendly. And then the marketplace is similar to the hosting, because it does host the course for you, but they just have those extra marketing platforms that they use.
Right. Yeah. And looking on to the next notes here, we've got marketplaces. To summarize, are like Udemy, are hosting platforms. They're also marketplaces. They take a percentage of your course, but in turn, they also help you to sell it because it's in their interest. So again, something similar to Amazon, they take a percentage, but they'll also help put you in front of eyes of other potentially interested customers.
Yeah. And I think a useful way to think about that too is if you have a course on Teachable, someone probably could search through Google to find my course on Teachable, but you're not going to go through Teachable and potentially find different courses. There may be that feature for some hosting platforms, but for the most part, that's what Udemy is for. Udemy is a marketplace. They're like Amazon. They have a bunch of different courses from a bunch of different people, and they want to make money and sell your courses.
Right, exactly. And then hosting platforms, in contrast, like Teachable and Thinkific, handle payments, hosting of your files, offer landing page templates, etc. But they don't actively promote your course, and then you pay them a monthly hosting fee. So in other words, they're covering some of the back end and the technical and logistical elements of it, but you're responsible for that marketing and driving people over and getting them excited and generating buzz and all of that.
Yep, and it's that double-edged sword, because you're responsible for your own marketing, but then they also have a lot of the tools that you can adjust and kind of do your own thing. You can control how you want your landing pages to look. They have a lot of options. Whereas on Udemy, everything is going to look, it's same as Amazon. It's going to look how Amazon wants it to look. It's going to look very formulaic and like other courses on there. Whereas your course on Teachable is, you can set it up within their template. You can set it up however you want, move your stuff around, make your own landing pages. And it's not just the landing pages, it's the organization, everything as well. You just have a lot more control when you're hosting yourself versus a marketplace, for the most part.
Would you say that the challenge with that comes in? I can imagine when you have something like Udemy, it's all pretty straightforward and laid out. Whereas would you say there are more options and more decisions that you have to make if you're doing something like Teachable, or do they actually also have templates and things that kind of you can plug and play and basically fill in your information? It's going to look decent, good enough, maybe not highly customized, but still good enough. Or is it all like, hey, when I sign up for Teachable, I'm signing up for not only creating the course but also creating the appearance, the visual front page of it as well?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Rob. Like, definitely, if you're on Udemy, it's a lot easier to make that page and put everything together. Upload the course. You kind of answer a series of questions. You still have to write your sales copy and stuff like that, but for the most part, you're just kind of filling in the blanks. Whereas with Teachable, at least in my experience, it is a little bit more difficult. Right. Yeah, there are templates and there are modules that you can kind of put in, and they have some good resources and good suggestions, but you are building out that page. It's not as easy as just kind of plugging in some answers and getting it good to go. So there's some more control there, but then that's a great point. It is, I would say, if not much more difficult, it's definitely more difficult and maybe just more time consuming, potentially. Have to get some help to get that and have that looking good. Because that's the thing too, right? If you can make it look better, it means you can also probably make it look worse. So that's where like the hosting platforms or the marketplaces, and I know Udemy does this too. They even review your courses. They want to make sure everything's up to their standard, and they potentially just deny it or provide you feedback and things that you can change to. Whereas in like Teachable, you're probably not going to get that. It's just going to be there, and it's either going to sell or not. You're not going to get that potentially useful feedback.
Right. I think of it as there's a base level of quality that probably a place like Udemy ensures, but but if you're really talented and skilled, you're not going to really be able to show off that individuality and creativity versus something like Teachable. Maybe the base level, the threshold is lower. Like you can put something out and it may not look all that good, but if you know what you're doing, you can make it look really sharp, really spectacular, and really individualized.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, and then one more thing with that. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure,
but,
sure.
I know that you can add in your own codes and stuff too. Whereas you probably can't do that on Udemy. I'm using an app right now called Proof Source, which is pretty cool. Whereas if someone goes to my course page, they'll see that other people have purchased the course and signed up for the course. It'll pop up in the bottom left. And there's other tools like that you can use to enhance your landing pages. Just thinking about things like that, most likely, I haven't looked into that specifically, but that's probably not something that's going to work with a marketplace because they don't want you to adding code and potentially messing things up. Right. It's more on there. In the same way, you wouldn't be able to add that kind of code to Amazon. So just thinking about it in those terms. Right.
Yeah, the level of customization to Amazon is limited to things like adding your editorial reviews and stylizing your sales copy and so forth. But outside of those borders, everything's going to look like an Amazon listing. All right, so moving on, we've got next point here. There are plenty of course hosting options out there, each with their own unique offerings, but that is the main difference. So we kind of covered all of that. And let's talk a little bit about the course marketplace options. So again, we're kind of covering the overview now, and now we have consider posting to multiple places. Just like spreading wide is a good option for Kindle Publishing, you can do the same for your course. We covered that a little bit, and Udemy is the most popular. Due to popularity, this is the first place for most authors and course creators. As long as you opt out of the Udemy for Business, your course will be non-exclusive. So that's good information. Are there pros and cons? I mean, are there incentives in the way that there are for Kindle for Udemy to be exclusive with Udemy?
Yeah, I would say it's a very similar thing now. I think, again, especially if you're starting out and don't have a huge audience, that's where, hey, might as well utilize Udemy's stuff, because if you think about it, some sales are probably better than no sales at all, and that's more of the advantage of using a marketplace like Udemy, is that there's already people there potentially buying courses. Now, we put that note in there. As long as you opt out of the Udemy for Business, you do have to go into a separate page to do that when you're going in to set up your courses. There's multiple different things that you can select in, and you may even be selected in by default, depending upon when you signed up, if you signed up for Udemy already. So that's something to go and check. But yeah, as far as what I could find in the exclusivity options, the Udemy for Business was the only one that said, hey, if we select your course, and if your box is checked and it's an automatic thing, you could be potentially enrolled in that. If they select your course, then it can't be elsewhere on the internet. Very similar to KDP Select. Now, Udemy's other marketing options and marketing help that they do, we talked a little bit about that in our last video, but they'll actually do advertising for your course through their affiliates and partners. As far as I can see with that doesn't need exclusivity that I could find. It was only the Udemy for Business, so that's why we added that note there.
Got it. Cool. And let's see. Okay, Skillshare is the next one. Skillshare is a subscription model, so you are free to host outside on other platforms. So what does that look like, the subscription model?
Yeah, I put Skillshare here. We could have spent hours, Rob, going through all the different course platforms and hosting and options out there. And then you could look on Google for those, or ask us questions if you have them on specific ones, and we'll be happy to look more into it, do the research, and share. But I wanted to add Skillshare because it's a little different than Udemy. Where on Udemy you're paying just for one-off courses. Skillshare is something you sign up for as far as like a membership, and then the model is probably very similar to Kindle Unlimited, where they can sign up for it if they go and view your course and you get paid a certain amount. It's probably either by signups or by how much they're engaging with your course. But it's a subscription model in that way, and you can add courses up on there. So very similar in some ways to Udemy, but different in how the model works. And I know it's another very popular one as well.
Right. Yeah. No. Great. Perfect. I like that analogy, it really does seem like there are close parallels with Amazon Kindle. So if you're an author and you're familiar with that platform, a lot of these different business elements will be reproduced in some of these course platforms. So, and again, if anybody's just joining us, the idea we're talking about building an online course for increasing the opportunities for people to become familiar with you, to interact with you, to deepen their relationship, and for you to share more information and more of your expertise with folks. And it's generally a good idea to have a number of different options as you build your author platform, not just your books, but other ways for people to become interested in and to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, and I will note, and this may be a question that someone may have later, so I wanted to share this. Skillshare is not something you as a content creator have to pay for, unless I'm wrong, but it's very similar to Udemy in that you can upload courses, and then once you upload the courses, then they take a percentage of those of that. But whereas the hosting platforms, they're not taking a percentage of your course other than payment processing fees and those things. That's not their model. Their model is to just be a site or a program that you pay monthly, and then have unlimited hosting, unlimited courses, or whatever those options are. Yep. The myriad of different options for each one. But that's kind of the quick overview for that.
Great. Yep. And that's what we have here. There are several others, all with different features, but we did just want to cover a couple of them to give folks out there a sense of some starting places. Moving on, we have hosting platforms. So again, hosting platforms are places where you can have kind of the technical, logistical backend handled for you while you put your course together. And in exchange, you're able to retain more of the proceeds from it and create a more customized experience for your course goers.
Yep.
Cool. We've got Teachable and Thinkific. They are easy to use and host. There are many more options than marketplaces. There is a monthly fee, and you bring all of the traffic. There's not a central repository of all the Teachable or Thinkific courses, so you have to send those people over to your page specifically, but you do maintain control. So you have access to the information of the users who sign up there, and you're able, again, to kind of set the price where you like and customize the user experience.
Yeah, and we just want to share these because these are the most popular ones that come up. If you type in Teachable, I think Google ads for Thinkific will show up, and probably vice versa. So these are two of the most popular ones out there. It's not limited to this. I'm sure I can't even remember the name of it. One I used way back when to host one of my courses. It was neither one of these, but it's just a totally separate one with similar features. So I think going through, and we're going to link to a resource that Dave Chesson put together, a really good video. I watched through that, and it was very helpful when thinking about the two. For me, I didn't even look. I just was like, hey, I'm going to have a course. I heard Teachable was good. I'm just going to do that. I made a quick decision. For the most part, it's been good. I probably should have spent a little bit more time, doing this kind of research and going through. But there's some good stuff there because, it's one of those things. Like I said before, you could switch. You're not locked in, but at the same time, if I switch now, I'd have to switch my whole course and have to kind of reset everything, reset links, and that would be kind of a pain. I'm not locked in, but it'd be a lot of extra work. So that's something to think about too.
Right. Yeah, it's not like an EPUB file where you can just drag and drop the files over over to a different platform. Got it. Okay, so we have Dave Chesson goes into even more in depth about these two options here, and this will include this link as well in the description box down below. But yeah, this is a great summary, a great overview of a couple of the big major players in this arena and why you might choose one versus the other. So here we go.
And Rob, I did just want to give a quick shout out to Nairi Squires and say that I'm in the same time zone as well. I'm here in Lisbon, and it's almost 11 o'clock. So shout out to you.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you, Nairi, for being on late in the evening as well as you, Jordan. All right, so there are others, but those are the most popular. And let's jump to closing thoughts. So we'll keep this one pretty short because, again, this is introductory. If you have additional questions, let us know. But as you mentioned, Jordan, double check the exclusivity and pricing arrangements on the marketplace. That's going to be something that's going to affect, whether you can host it elsewhere, and then obviously, what sort of royalties you're going to earn from these. And recognize that hosting platforms won't do the marketing for you. versus marketplaces, which will help drive some traffic over because it is in their interest to sell your course. And then let us know any specific questions you'd like us to answer. Thoughts on any of those closing ideas?
I just think, again, thinking about it from the top down, making your decision based on those two different trees. So are you going to go for more of a marketplace? And if you're going to go for a marketplace, that might mean you don't have your own audience and you're not thinking about having your own email list. Or you're going to choose to have your own course hosting platform like Teachable or Thinkific. And then you're going to grab your own traffic, direct your own traffic to that. And you're going to kind of build that yourself, have your own options, do things the way you want to do them. And then when you're thinking about those two different options, think about the fact that maybe they're not mutually exclusive. Even if you were to offer maybe just a part of your course on Udemy or something to gain interest, that's an idea. Just thinking about the different ideas you have, especially if you are going only right now, like my course is only on Teachable, I'm thinking about putting it on Skillshare and Udemy because, Teachable doesn't have any kind of licensing or say over my course right now. It's still mine. I'm just paying to host it on that platform. So think about those from the top down, and then let us know any questions that you come across on specific ones as you're going through this, and we're happy to help.
Yep, I love it. Great summary, Jordan. Yeah, think about top-down marketplace or hosting platform, pros and cons involved, and then from there you can determine which particular choice or choices might make sense for you. So just give a quick shout out here as we're closing up. Mojo, good to see you in the audience. Thanks for commenting. Nairi as well, great to have you, and thanks for commenting. You mentioned I think I would have my own audience. So yeah, if you're in that position, then definitely sending over people to a hosting platform, like Teachable, like Thinkific, can be really good. Similar to Amazon, Amazon Kindle, you don't have access to the email addresses and the contact information of your buyers on certain marketplaces. So you want to, if that's something that you value and want to prioritize, then having a hosting platform will give you that additional layer of control and direct communication and contact so you can deepen those relationships. So great insight there. Anything else you wanted to say, Jordan?
No, I think we're good. Like I said before, I mean, I was even as I was starting to do the deep dive and thinking about it myself and going through and experiencing a lot of these things, I'm starting to think, man, yeah, there are so many questions that come up. It can be really confusing really quickly. And yeah, again, happy to reach out, do some research for you, and I'm sure some of the stuff we've experienced too. So.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for jumping into this and sharing some information. So folks out there, definitely subscribe, let us know what sort of questions, comments you have, and anything else you want to know about building an online platform for authors in 2020. We're all ears and would love to share and help. So have a good night, everybody, and we will see you folks next time.